When Sean Lewis took over at San Diego State, I think a lot of people were hoping that the turnaround would be relatively quick. And obviously, it was going to take some time. And we saw that last year. A 3-9 season isn't exactly what people wanted, but it was a necessary part of this turnaround. Sean Lewis still has plenty of work to do. He brings in Matt Johnson to help the offense, calling those plays. He has a storied career at Bowling Green, for those who don't know. And they're hoping that this defense and Rob Aurich are able to figure out how to get back to where they used to play. This used to be one of the toughest teams to play because of their defense. And now they're looking to continue that tradition, but they're also looking to be more explosive offensively. Sean Lewis has had some of the better offenses in college football. His time at Colorado showed that, despite the coaching change that they decided to make for whatever reason. And you saw that at Kent State. And the one thing I keep hanging my hat on with San Diego State is that if Sean Lewis can win at Kent State, one of the worst programs in college football, he can win at San Diego State. You have more access to talent. You have a better pool of players that you can pick from, and you have a little bit more leeway, or at least influence, I should say, with some of the kids that are in your area. With Kent State, you're doing literally anything and everything you can to get these kids to commit. Whereas at San Diego State, you probably don't have to work as hard. Not that Sean Lewis isn't going to work hard, but it's going to be a little bit easier when you're not constantly having to work through everything. And at Kent State, it was a lot of work, and that's really what leads me to believe that Sean Lewis can put a winner on the field with the Aztecs. And it's going to look a little bit different. The offense is going to look drastically different than it was last year, thanks to the transfer portal. Jaden Denegal and Bert Emanuel Jr. will be the two quarterbacks. And you could have a two quarterback system. Maybe it's one or the other, but Bert Emanuel showed flashes in his time at Central Michigan. Jaden Denegal is a highly rated recruit that could have a ton of success in this offense. Again, this offense is an explosive offense, and it'll be fun to see how they utilize both guys, if they do utilize both of them, and how that quarterback situation can help an offense that was not very good. It just was not very good last year. They only scored 21 points per game. That puts them at 116th in the country. So the quarterbacks have to play better. They do have options around them, though. The running back position is very talented. Christian Washington comes in from the transfer portal. Byron Cardwell as well. Those are two guys that I think will be really good fits in this system and really fun to watch in the Mountain West. You also bring in a number of players on the offensive line. Cam May comes in, Kalen Ellis, Dallas Fincher. You have plenty of talent to help out up front. Now, whether or not those guys are able to compete right away is going to be a big question. Ross Ulugalu Masuli is back. He's an all-conference type talent, so it's not a lack of talent on the offensive line. It's going to be the chemistry. It's going to be the guys that you are bringing in that are new. How can you get them up to speed? How can you get them to gel with each other? Those are going to be big questions. Jordan Napier is going to be a really fun player at wide receiver. It'll be interesting to see if he can take a step forward. 6'1", 195 pounds, had 440 yards and 4 touchdowns last season. You're expecting him to take another step, and you need some wide receivers to step up. I think the hard part with last year was you needed guys to elevate their game, and some guys did, but it felt like a lot of guys missed the mark or missed their opportunity. So you're hoping that the new guys you have coming in are able to step up, and the guys that did understand the job at hand are able to take another step. Now, the defense wasn't much better, and this is really where it's hard as a San Diego State fan, because when you look at the defenses you've had within the last decade, you've had some of the best defenses in college football, and last year just wasn't the case. Now, it was not due to Trey White. I will say that. Trey White is one of the best defensive ends, one of the best players in college football, and I am honestly shocked that he stayed. I am surprised that he did not enter the transfer portal in this day and age. I'm not questioning his loyalty at all. I'm just surprised that a player of his caliber did not at least entertain the transfer portal, did not at least listen to offers, and I'm sure that he received offers even though he didn't go anywhere. I'm sure even if he, if he would have gone in the portal, there would have been plenty of suitors for him. And last year was a monster year for him. 60 tackles, 19 tackles for loss, 12 and a half sacks. This is a guy who can be an absolute unit for this team. And that's a big reason why they should get back to more success this year, is because they have a guy who can be disruptive. You also have some players around him that could step up in a big way. Brady Nassar is going to have an interesting year because teams will be keen on Trey White. So someone like him is going to have an opportunity to improve upon a year in which he had 26 tackles and 5 tackles for loss. Christian Clay is another guy up the middle, 40 tackles, 5 tackles for loss. Up the middle is really where they need to get better. They need to have more success, be more disruptive. If you're disrupting a team's offense, if their rushing attack isn't getting going, it's because Clay is doing his job. The linebacker position is also interesting. I think they have plenty of talent there. Tano Latuli is set to come back after a 70 tackle season. Owen Chambliss is back. Those are 2 guys that you can build around. You just got to find some depth to help them out, but you feel like you have good players in place to make plays happen. The secondary could get back to what we've seen before as well. The secondary has a number of options to make big plays, and when you look at what this San Diego State team did in the past, playing really good defense and defending the pass is somewhere an area that they thrived, and they could do that again. Eric Butler and Deshaun Staley are back at safety. Chris Johnson and Bryce Phillips should be the corners. So you're looking at a secondary that even when they lose a couple big pieces, they are going to return good experience that's going to help them. And that was a group that finished 55th in the country in pass defense. So you have plenty of options. You have a group that you can build around. It's just, how do you get better up front? How do you continue defending in a way that's going to build upon what you're successful at, but also at the same time improve the areas that you weren't necessarily good at last season? The schedule is interesting for this team because I think you have lots of winnable games. It's just going to come down to, how are your teammates gelling? How is your group improving? And that's going to be a big question. The over-under currently is set at 4.5 as I'm recording this. And that's a tough win total. And it would be an improvement. Even if you go on the under there, you still have plenty of opportunities to win football games. Now, as the time I'm recording this, a lot of you think that they're going to improve. 17% of you think they'll finish 1st through 3rd. That would be the ultimate surprise. But this is a San Diego State team that could surprise people. No one's really expecting them to be in this conversation. So maybe they will. And 50% of you think 4th through 6th. I think that's still a surprise for this conference, but that is definitely an attainable goal for them. 7th through 9th, 33% of you say that. So anywhere from 4th through 9th is probably where this team finishes, in my opinion. A 4th through 6th finish would be a really exciting season for this group. And again, this group could surprise a lot of people. Not many people are paying attention to them. It's exactly where Sean Lewis wants his team. I think overall the ceiling for this team is 7-5. If they beat that, that's really surprising. Their floor is 3-9, which would be disappointing after last year, but when you look at what they have, it's not exactly an easy schedule. And the Mountain West is a competitive league. Stony Brook's going to be a win. Then you go to Washington State. That's not going to be easy. Then you got to bye before you play Cal. Cal is going to be an interesting team this year, but they're definitely better than San Diego State right now. Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame last year, so I can't say that's definitively a win. Colorado State lost quite a bit of talent, but I think they're still going to be a tough team to beat. Nevada had a lot of close losses last year. They're looking to be better. Fresno State's going through a coaching change, but should still be fine. Wyoming's another team that could bounce back. Hawaii is a team that is ready to take a step. Then you go Boise State and San Jose State. Those are 2 very tough teams at the end of the year. We'll see if Boise State is in the conversation for the college football playoff once again. San Jose State has quite a bit of talent that's going to make life very difficult for anybody they face. And then New Mexico going through a coaching change. So plenty of winnable games. Like I said, it's not like there aren't wins on the schedule. It's just who's gonna step up for this team to make them wins. The Mountain West, like I said, a very competitive conference, and San Diego State is looking to make some noise. Sean Lewis has a good track record, and if the talent he brought in steps up, this will be a fun team to watch in 2025.